we do every Wednesday. And today we're here to talk about one of the mandates with Mallory, the 8 mandate this evening. You're either on my email list or the email list of our book, and you're here to both check
You're kind of going in and out.
out the night, and also to hear about the opportunity that we have to offer. And I think as there might be the case, but we're just going to get started and say hi, guys. So how's everybody doing today?
Hey.
Hi.
What's going on?
What up?
Good.
Good to have you guys here. We were making on some videos for our team and how to create your own out to you guys on Friday. So some exciting stuff going on. So we're going to keep this pretty tight tonight because there's another hangout that some of the leaders got invited to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started with the topic for tonight, but I will stop at certain points and see if you guys have anything to add to the conversation based on the topic that I have going on, but we'll get started pretty quick. If you guys want to do me a favor and just while I'm talking, if you want to just go up the top and hit the mute microphone button, and then as I pause for a few minutes and actually ask you guys questions and stuff, then you can unmute yourself if you want to share something. So, all right. So, like I said, I wrote that was cool. The topic of I went to a university, but as far as my person, introverted and never really considered myself. Looked at joining that stuff, kind of not. So I didn't really get involved in too many things. So I just had this thing, a leader, but about how I decided that I really want to style with my life and actually a business opportunity and personal development, like John Maxwell and Bob Proctor, people like that. And once I started doing that, it's not everyone takes their personality and who they are. And to make it sound relatable that everybody would want to do it, I said, what about the topic of personal leadership? And it's living your life in a way that you're constantly focused on personal development while exemplifying the characteristics of in your own way. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you? Good.
Good. We're topic for tonight, but I'm gonna have you jump in a little bit when I ask some questions. All right? You there?
Well, I didn't hear you.
No, I was saying I'm saying when I got started. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What?
No, I was saying
question.
Yeah, can you just mute yourself out for a minute, and I'll answer some questions in a minute.
Myself.
There we go. Okay, awesome. So, like I said, we'll have you guys jump in a minute. So I apologize for that. Elizabeth's one of my favorite people, so we'll have her share some stuff in a little bit as well. So that's where I came up with the idea of personal leadership, and I kind of looked at my journey over the last 6 or 7 years and said, what are the main things that have got me from where I was to where I am now? And put that in a framework of someone who's having some challenges, looking themselves as a leader and really believing in themselves to actually take that action to get to a desired place. So I wrote down all the different topics I'd learned and I broke them out into 8 mandates and then some subtopics. And that's kind of what we ran with the book. And what we're doing for the next 8 weeks on our Hangouts here is we're actually going to talk about one of these each per week and kind of culminate all the stuff that we've been learning because we're actually leading up to our Live the Movie team event that we're hosting in the middle of February, and a lot of the leaders here on the board here are joining us at that event. And if it's something that you're interested in, we're not just going to tell you, hey, come because it's awesome. We're going to teach you like the 30,000 degree level of what we're going to be teaching, and then we're going to dive deeper. We're at the event. So we're giving you a preview of some of the stuff we'll be covering so that if you're interested in joining us, you can get a chance to grab one of the spots before it's all sold out. So I'm going to get started. So the topic for tonight is perspective, because one of the things that I learned is that if you don't have the right perspective, none of the other mandates really matter. Someone can tell you to take responsibility, they can hold you accountable of things, but if you don't see yourself in a positive way, an empowering way, you don't believe in yourself, you're not focused in a way that's actually going to get you to take action and to make improvements in your life, you won't continue to follow through on the other things that can be done. So the most important thing about gaining a perspective is obviously belief. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in the fact that you have something of value to add. And a lot of times what holds people back is they just think about themselves. When you think about, maybe it's you're afraid to ask someone out, that you want to ask out, or you're afraid to give a speech, or you're nervous about a business not working out. A lot of times you're thinking about how am I going to be in this situation, instead of thinking about the value that you would be able to add to the world or your community or what you're doing. And changing a belief doesn't just happen from just intellectually hearing what I just said. You have to actually do stuff. You have to actually think of ideas, but also take action based on that. So the first thing I would say when it comes to a belief is you have to have like we talk about, a different perspective. Someone has to challenge that belief. They have to give you a different way of looking at things, because when you can see something from a different perspective, now it gives you an opening to actually go ahead and take action. And there's a lot of ways to do things. You can visualize, so you can meditate, you can visualize what you want to see happening, and do that enough and condition your mind to actually see yourself doing this thing that you might have been afraid to do. And if you do that enough, and then when you actually take action, if you guys have ever heard the saying, the mind doesn't know the difference between thinking about doing something and actually doing it. So if you condition it enough and you keep doing it in your mind, when it comes to taking that action, your nervous system won't hold you back because you've done it already so many different times in your life. So I'm going to dive a little bit more into that in a second, but does anyone on the panel here have an example of maybe a time where you had a belief that you were holding on to, a disempowering belief, and you used some technique to actually overcome that was related to conditioning yourself with this new belief and then taking action from that new belief? Does anyone they can think of?
Well, yes, I can think in one. Last year when I was married for 5
Yep.
years. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So all the time I stay in my marriage because I was afraid I cannot do things of my own. So when I start preparing myself about thinking that I was a powerful woman and I can do things and I will have a great life being on my own, because I have a lot of knowledge and prepare, and I'm a doctor and a coach and a lot of things, but I haven't, in that time I didn't believe it. So I start preparing myself about giving myself self-love and self-empowerment, and right now I'm doing great and feeling awesome, and I never feel so great in my life like I feel now. And actually it's gonna be 1 year that I got divorced, and it's the best decision ever.
Great.
So yes, but it took me time to get to that point because I was preparing myself mentally.
Right. And I know me and you have talked about this before, that was the right decision for you, and that you and your ex-husband still have a relationship, but you guys are kind of going in different directions, and it was kind of a decision that you needed to make, and were able to you know, take action and follow your dreams from there. So that's a great example. Just to keep this quick, but also to give you guys an example, have any of you ever seen the activity where someone has you stand up and you kind of hold out your finger in front of you, and then you're supposed to stretch around as far as you can comfortably? Have any of you guys ever seen that activity? And then what you do is you go as far as you can comfortably. So let's say I go to there, and then what you're supposed to do is you stand there and you close your eyes and you visualize yourself going a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further, and then you picture yourself being like an owl that can spin around and around and around, and then the instructor says, okay, now go as far as you can, and you go way farther. And it's funny that you could have done the further way around the first time, but there's actually more than one reason that you didn't. You know, the reason could be you didn't want to hurt yourself or think you could hurt yourself. You were told to go comfortably, so you didn't actually want to push yourself further than what you were told, or you actually didn't see yourself being able to go that far, but now that you can. The biggest thing to be able to actually overcome a belief and actually take action from it is the results that you see in advance, what you want to see happening, actually happening before your own eyes. And I actually give this quick story in my book, which I know a bunch of you guys have downloaded because I made the whole ebook available thanks to Mallory. That was her idea. So I made the whole book available. But basically my story is that I was in a situation where I was in college and I wanted to make more, I wanted to meet more people. I wanted a girlfriend, but I also wanted to meet a new group of people that I was really excited about, you know, shared values, hard workers, also wanted to have fun and all this stuff. So I actually started visualizing going out to parties and events and meeting people and you know, being more confident and doing all this stuff. And I literally did this every night before I would go out on the weekend nights at college. And what was funny is that probably about 2 weeks into the semester, I'd gone out 4 or 5 times, and I was actually at a party for my friends that I had reconnected with the first day of school. And they were all sitting there doing what college kids do, and I'm kind of standing there hanging out saying, you know, this party's, yeah, it's exciting, but not really. All of a sudden, these 3 girls walk in, and for some reason, all my friends aren't paying attention to them. So all the girls that are there, all the guys are playing cards or do whatever, and these 3 girls are standing there. And I'm paying attention to their body language, and it looks like they're about to turn around and leave. And I had briefly met a couple of them the night before at a different party, and I could see them about to turn to leave. And because I had visualized myself walking up to people without hesitation, which is not something that I normally did, I literally felt a pull on my chest to go talk to them. And I went over and I started talking to them. We were joking around, having a fun time. And they were like, this isn't really that fun. Do you want to go back to our room? So I went and hung out in their room. And actually, those 3 girls are part of my friends, the Bentley family that I call them. All 3 of them were at my wedding. 2 out of the 3 of them were in my wedding. And that all became because I changed that belief. I saw that action, you know, I saw that in my head ahead of time. And when I had to make a split-second decision, if I made a different decision, I might not have been friends with them today. But instead, I just walked right up to them, got out of my own head, started a conversation with them, and now they're my best friends. And I, you know, like I said, they're part of my wedding and stuff. So that was just an example that I thought would be helpful to drive home the point. So beliefs was number 1. That was one thing that helps you change your perspective, of course, is changing your beliefs. The second one is not necessarily a strategy. It's more of a way of approaching and the way of thinking. And the concept is called inside out. And what that's all about is that most people in their life think, if I achieve that goal, whatever the goal is, that will validate who I am, and then I'll be okay, then I'll be happy. I'll get the girlfriend, the boyfriend, then I'll be happy. I get the car, and then I look cool, so people will think I'm cool. You know, I'll make, you know, $100,000 this year, and then that you know, that makes me awesome. But the problem with that is when you have a goal where you're not going to be something till you achieve the goal, let's say buy a house, get married, your excitement will actually peak at the moment that you hit the goal, and afterwards it will go down, because it's entirely based on the goal. It's not based on who you become in the process of going after a goal and actually attempting to achieve it. So you want to think about, you want to have a goal, so you have a target, something that's going to push you, something that is in line with your vision for your life and where you want to go, and is all about contribution and becoming who you want to be. But it really is that process of who you are becoming as a person that's ultimately most important when it comes to changing your perspective. So do any of you have an example related to Inside Out, where maybe initially you had a goal that you said, okay, I need to hit this goal to validate who I am, and it just wasn't happening, you weren't getting there, and then you said, I'm still going to have the goal, but I'm going to quit trying. I'm just going to become the person that can attract the girlfriend or boyfriend, can make the money, can open the business, whatever that is, and you actually became that person that you were always wanting to be by going through that process rather than focusing just on the goal. Do any of you guys have an example like that?
Well,
No. Go ahead.
hey, so
Go ahead.
let me introduce myself again. My name is Dario. I'm so glad. I'm thankful to get to meet you guys. Well, when I first started in business was about 4.5 years ago when I joined a network marketing company. Well, it wasn't the company that really helped me change as a person. It was the mentors and the people that I actually met in the business. So at first, within the first 2 years that I was involved in this business, I wasn't really making progress. In fact, I was every time I was recruiting somebody, they would leave my team because it took me quite some time to really understand that you really have to become a better person so that you could attract the right people into your business. So when I started developing myself and reading books and listening to my mentor and my sponsor, that he became a good friend of mine. And to this day, I still talk to him and say hello and everything. But this is the type of people that will really become somebody special in your life because they somehow impacted your life in a positive way. So that's what I do now. I really teach people. In fact, I have my friend online right now. He's actually watching me. So he's somebody that I really like to help. Would like to help him in this business. He listens. With the moment you listen to the right people is the moment you start changing your life, getting the right strategies, getting the right tools that's going to help you in your business. So the only way for your business to grow is actually developing yourself so that you could work with the right people, and then the people are going to actually listen to you. So I was really, really thankful that I'm able to be in Eric's team because I was actually searching for somebody that I could learn from. And an entrepreneurial career is actually an ongoing process. You're always going to learn from making mistakes and continue learning and never stop learning. So you're always going to be reading and developing yourself. And it's a daily thing. That it's a habit. It's something you do every single day. When you blog in and everything, make sure you have at least an hour of reading, at least an hour. So I really that's what really made me change in my life. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys.
Awesome, Dario. I appreciate it.
No problem.
You got a big thumbs up there. Do you want to mute yourself back out? Okay, awesome. Can you guys hear me now? Yes? Okay, cool. So I appreciate that, Dario. That was awesome. One of the cool things that you did mention is when you get yourself in a group of people that actually acknowledge you for the action that you take, it's a lot easier to actually go after those goals, because it's not just about the goals, it's about making progress. It's being cheered along the way for going after things, about overcoming challenges. So I totally agree with you. That's a big part of growth in business or just growth in your personal life. So that's a great example, and we're happy to have you. You definitely fit in right with the group, so that's awesome. And Dario got his black card because he signed up and went all in. And you know, he's been actually preparing for this. He actually said he ordered a couple hundred books recently. He actually has been following what we're doing and also other people in Empower. So he's been running Instagram accounts even though he wasn't a part of the business in anticipation of joining. So it's actually pretty cool stuff. So let's get to our other three steps here that we have in relating to changing your perspective. So number 3 is gratitude. You know, anything in life is like we talk reference. Why in one moment can you be and another moment dollars you're depressed? And it's all based on your references and by you have. Now, I do want to mention something, and I'm going to, in a second, if any of you guys have anything particular that you guys helps you focus on gratitude. But one of the things that I find, and I don't know if any of you can relate to this, is gratitude is not just have a, you know, maybe a spouse or a family do anything. I believe if you don't that you have to be able to contribute, which is why my definition of focusing and being great you've made so far and having a compelling view towards and not take any action from there. So for me, a big beginning and end of each day, because those will agree with me with the law of attraction, those first minutes set the tone for the day or set the tone for your sleeping. Really focusing on what you're grateful for, the people, the event, and you're satisfied with your day, even if you didn't get the results that you want, and just what happened. Now you can go into the next day and take action towards the goals that you have. So you know, we'll try to keep this tight, but just then quick exercise, really focus yourself on gratitude.
I can share on this one. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, go for it.
I mean, you know, people talk about gratitude all the time, and I think that there's a bigger picture when it comes to gratitude, and I think the bigger picture that most people miss is getting connected to the love in which you are. So I coach with, you know, Dr. Joe Vitale, who was in the movie The Secret. I'm part of his, you know, coaching program, and he, you know, he talks about gratitude all the time. But really, what gratitude is, it's actually a clearing technique. And the thing is that as we go through life, things happen and cause us to become what we call blocked, right? Or blocks are created in our life, and gratitude is the most powerful way to shift your blocks and to allow you to become open, right? And, you know, vibrating full of energy that is which you are, which is love. And gratitude is really connected closely to love than it is anything else. And so at the end of the day, all you are is love. All you'll ever have is love, right? And so I think gratitude is just a force or a, you know, a strategy or a technique that allows you to become more clear and get connected to who you are. And there's many times in my life, by the way, where I try and become grateful. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, right? And, you know, I think one of the things that I do that really helps me if I'm really blocked up is I try and challenge myself to write down as many things that I'm grateful for that's different every time. So, for example, you know, if I'm feeling really blocked up, I'll just grab a pen and piece of paper and I'll write 10 things that I'm grateful for. And if it happens again, I'll always try and challenge myself. How can I get to 20 different things, then 30 different things, then 50 different things? I got up to 100 one time, just 100 different things that I'm grateful for. And you'd be surprised, like every time you do it, it gets you closer and closer to who you are, right? And that's really who you are is love. What you are is love. It's just an energy. So, you know, that's just my thoughts on that. You know, obviously I'm big into spirituality and law of attraction and stuff like that. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Cool. I think that's awesome, Rob. And I think that that's great too, because it's not just a thing where you intellectually write stuff down just to do it. Like you said, it's a clearing. One of the things that stops a lot of us from being grateful is, you live in the real world. You go out there, and some people are mean, and some people, there's trap way and like all this stuff that happens, and a lot of your way it blocks you. And like you said, if the love of it and really be, I appreciate it. To the topic of, the topic of perspective, and they're all kind of, the fourth point here is because sometimes something as simple as just having a different awareness can be cured. Tony Robbins does all the time is, you will focus no matter what. That's just exercise is, you're out to see and find, and then he goes, okay, close your eyes and tell me everything that was blue, and you can list off all these things. And he said, well, why could you find that you were looking for? You were aware of it. It was in, and then he's, tell me all the things that you can find that are red. And you look around, red, 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 and then he says, and tell me orange. And you say, well, you couldn't think of as many things. And then some people start to yell out some of the things that were red. And he said, interesting. So you'll even lie to yourself to make yourself feel successful, because you need to find what it is that you said that you were looking for. So having a perspective and being aware of what you want, where you want to go, what are the things that are holding you back, and focusing on that. Have you guys heard of what's called the reticular activating system? It's actually the part of your brain that tells you what to pay attention to. Because think about it, I could pay attention to my fingernails, the dust on the desk here, I could pay attention to the keys or things that there's so many stimuli that you could pay attention to, but my reticular activating system is telling me what to pay attention to, but that's all based on conditioned thoughts and beliefs that I have. So that's why focusing on something that you really want, that you deeply desire, and taking action towards it, it puts it in your awareness, and then when you're aware of it, you're going to do anything that can pull you closer to what you already have in your mind is what you want, because you've decided it's important to you. I think Rob was talking about the secret. I think that's a piece that people miss, is that a lot of times when you talk about the law of attraction, people say, well, am I just supposed to sit there and visualize and like stuff just appears? And it's like, no, that's not what Joe Vitale said, or some of the other people in The Secret said. What they're saying is, if you truly believe in something and you visualize it and you're aware of it, you naturally will just take the action, and it won't be stressful to you because it's in your mind, it's in your reticular activating system, and you'll be pulled towards the action that will get you closer to it, rather than feeling like, it's something that you really have to make an effort to actually do. So I think that could be pretty powerful. Something you want to add, Rob? Or?
No, I think that's great. I think the other thing that, when you talk about perspective, I think there's something else that most people don't understand, is that whenever someone pisses you off or someone makes you mad, what most people don't realize is that they're not making you mad. What they're doing is triggering something inside of you that made you mad. And there's a significant difference. Ultimately, the reason why you're mad at someone is not because of them, but rather what's inside you. And so everything you're experiencing that is in your current reality is shaped by you. You are it. You are 100% responsible, right? And that's what they talk about all the time, is taking responsibility. And, a lot of people in life, right, play the victim game. Well, he said this or she said that, but ultimately anything that you're experiencing is based off of what's inside you, right? Your internal world matches your external world. And so if you're not experiencing something that you want to experience, or if you're not, having something you want to have, Well, all that means is that you have to fix it somewhere inside you. It's funny, the people at the top of this company, like David Wood, right, and like Mars and like Jay Cron, all those people, they're very spiritual, specifically David Wood. And one of the things that he said was of the recent merger was that Empower Network wasn't like growing. And he realized that there were some things inside him that he needed to work on first before he could do anything else. And it wasn't until he did that that everything came together. He actually mentioned, I remember listening to on a conference call, and it's so true. Like whatever you're experiencing in your life, whatever's making you mad, whatever's making you sad, right? Whatever's making you happy, it's all inside you. And if you can create more of that and focus on creating more of that and focus on clearing what you don't want to experience, I think like that is way more powerful than visualizing and nebulizing, because all of that stuff will come to you way faster. You become a conduit, right, where it flows through you. And it's like really cool. One of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm applying for a mortgage and a house and all of this stuff. And things are coming together, and hopefully I should be closing in like 2 weeks, and I'd be really excited. But as I've been going through this experience, like I'm nervous, I'm scared, right? Because of the financial commitment, because of all this other stuff that I have to become responsible for. And what I'm realizing is that that's a sign to me that maybe I need to grow more. Or maybe that's a sign to me that, I need to take more responsibility for things. And so, everything that you're experiencing right now is somewhere inside you. And if you can understand that concept alone, that will change a lot of stuff for you.
That's awesome, Rob. Rob,
Sorry, you're kind of breaking up. I couldn't hear you.
can you hear me now?
I got a thumbs up, yeah.
Okay, that's why I asked. So I just want to. So that's awesome, Rob. Your page there, because you did everything you said perfectly. And next week's call, which
Oh, I led that up.
is our last point tonight, is about your tomorrow ability. So I was saying that way there. So like I said, a state, and Rob talked a lot about that, and I reference Tony Robbins a lot because I went to all of meet him, and there's certain things that people don't teach. I actually even other people teach based on his. One of the things he said, which is kind of you got to stick with it for a second. He actually was running a seminar. Muted. And he had all these people from all 60 different kind of militias. They're all about men. And not funny, but once they heard what had, should I cancel the event? What's going on? Everybody gathered together. Everybody went to their home. All of us have an emotional state that we go to. Where what's interesting is depressed. Some people that are in a state of oh, I wish I could be there to contribute. And what was to in the room went to the actually gain control of the room again, go to the island of, why are you feeling guilty? And it's like, yeah, that's my I maintain guilty. And someone in certain situations, it feels like rocket fuel to me. That's how I feel angry. And the whole point there is that we actually have only so many emotional states that we go to on a weekly basis. Most of us, if you actually wrote down all the emotions that you experience, maybe it's like 5 or 10. But if you actually look, there's about that represent emotions. But yet we live in this little box of 5 or 10, which are ways that we've learned to meet our own needs by running these emotional patterns when we get into certain situations. And just like everything we've talked about tonight, Rob talking about clearing and gratitude and all that stuff, you have to actually pick out the emotions that you want to experience and declare them to yourself that you are going to no longer experience the ones that you don't want to experience, and you are going to experience the ones you do want to experience. In a lot of books I've read and a lot of seminars I've been to, they actually tell you to say that you are the emotion. I am joy, I am happy, I am love, and actually condition that over and over and over so it becomes a part of who you are, and that becomes one of the emotions that you experience on a regular basis. It's funny because I actually catch myself doing this sometime, and even though it's kind of focusing on the opposite of a negative, which isn't necessarily a positive, before I learned all this stuff, I used to, when I would, when something would go wrong and I'd be under stress for whatever situation, I would kind of get angry and then somewhat down on myself. So this is like years back. And after I started learning from all these great leaders that we've all been talking about today and in different books that we've read, anytime I'm about to go to that place, I actually have like an incantation, which is something that you say to yourself with emotion. That's what an incantation is. And I actually say to myself, that's not how we win anymore, Eric. Because before, that used to be a way to protect myself, but now it doesn't do anything for me. So when I try to go to that emotional state, I just instantly, it just comes to my head, that's not how we win anymore, Eric. And then I go right back to what I'm trying to do. And all the stuff we're talking about tonight is awesome and great in theory, and you can obviously apply it to your life. But what the power of actually being live at events is, you can take an idea from here and you can put it in here. And once it's inside here, then it doesn't go away when you're away from one situation or from another. People always ask me, what do I get from going to like 6 seminars in 5 months? Like, that's what I did. I went on like just a crazy thing of going to seminars. What did I get out of it? And I said, I actually didn't learn a lot. I didn't learn a lot of new ideas because I'd read the books, I'd listened to the audio tapes, and most of the people that I went to see. But what happened is everything that was in here went in here, and my immediate responses to things that happen are so much different than where they were before. So now I don't have this lapse in time where I'm off track. It's maybe you get frustrated for a few minutes, a few hours, a few, whatever, and then you go back to what you're doing because you're focused on what's going on. And that's ultimately what you're going to get, because we're going to take the ideas in my book, we're going to take the best ideas from each of the people on the panel here, and they're going to each have a talk at our event and share the best ideas they've learned in relation to the 8 mandates, and they'll have their own spin. It doesn't have to be what's in my book, but whatever fits into the book, they're going to speak on their topic. And being in person and talking with people and having that interaction really drives things home and takes it to that emotional level. And when you have emotional fitness, that's where you follow through and you take the goals. The problem is most people set goals, but they're not in any emotional state. They're not actually excited about it. And they set the goal in a non-emotional state, and then they go to work in front of their computer or something, and then they get tired and they get distracted, and there's no emotion behind it, and because of that they don't follow through. So we got like 2 or 3 more minutes here, and I just want to see if anyone wants to share their excitement for the event that we have coming up, and how that also relates to the topic we shared tonight, and how being at the event can actually drive that home. And then I'm just going to give people a chance, if they're interested in joining our team, where they can go check us out. So anyone have anything to share real quick before we close it out?
Go to the event.
Great advice, short and simple.
Can you hear me?
Mal, you got something to say? Yes. I don't think we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Just with live events, I mean, Eric and I used to work for, and Rob too, used to work for a sales company in the past that held live events, and I just remember the biggest thing about a live event, there's just something so magical that happens when you go, and just the people there are real, and you're not just, these hangouts are great and I love having them every week, but there's just something about being next to the actual person that's on the video screen right now that just does wonders for anything. So in the business before, they would always make it a point to promote the post-conference pop, they called it, which was after a conference, a sales conference, people would go out and they would crush it in sales. And it was just like this unbelievable thing. Where that comes from is just being around like-minded people who have the same, similar goals, and you learn from the people that are around you so much more. Being in person with them, you can throw ideas back and forth, and there's just something really powerful about being around other people that are doing something the same thing as you and trying to accomplish the same goals. So it's just, get to the event. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
I'm going to wrap up here in a few minutes. We will give people the opportunity to sign up if they're ready to do so. I know following us for a few weeks or a few months. I will tell you that, sign up if you feel ready. Again, we are doing this mastermind. It's not an event where I stand up front and everyone just sits there. It's an event where we're masterminding between people on our team and other people that are joining us. And because we're doing it in a house, it's only a certain amount of people can be there. So we actually, little less than 50% of the spots are already filled, and we haven't even announced it yet to allow other people on our team that aren't leaders or someone who's at the black card level or actually join us yet. So there's a couple things you could do. Make sure you're on next Wednesday's Hangout. We're going to talk about responsibility and also give you guys a chance to sign up. But to actually be able to get details right when they're available, on one of my websites, it's actually ericlivethemoviecrew.com. So it's ERICLIVE crew, CREW.com. If you go there, there's a little opt-in form. If you put in your email and first name, you'll actually get a chance to be notified right away when we put the information out there. You'll actually get an email. That particular email list is only for information about the event. It's not about other stuff that I have or the team has. It's just about the event. So if you want to put yourself on there so you're ready to go, next week we'll be giving you more details. The details that we do have so far, it's going to be the February 12th to the 14th in Greenville, South Carolina. And like I said, we're doing it at a really cool house up by the mountains, about 20 minutes from the airport. Those details are reiterated when you opt in for the information as well, so there's a video telling you the details that we have so far. But next week, when we give you a chance to join, we'll be telling you what you're going to benefit from the event, because, hey, you guys would spend any amount of money and do anything if I can guarantee you the results you want in your life. So we're going to talk about what you're going to get out of the event, and then we'll talk about the price and how you can sign up as well. So next week we're going to talk about responsibility. And the very last thing is below this video, there's a button. If you enjoy what you've heard from us and you want to join our team and want to be a part of the you can click the link and you actually have a chance to sign up for 2 weeks and see if you want to. Whoever sent you this video will be connected. You and is the last thing for you guys. And on our team, I don't promote my sponsors, and for most of you from that, my sponsors, Brian and Ron, at 9 o'clock on when they are actually having Mallory and Rob join. You guys want to hop over and watch that Hanks, our small group of team and the email list that we send out, but that Hangout that we'll be watching and for our team. So if you'd like to watch that team group, I tagged you guys in the post. See web services, but me and Mallory and Rob will be on live. So if you guys want to check that out, be interacting, and we will be on next week to talk about responsibility. So I'll just hang out, and for those of you joining us on the next Hangout, we'll be live in like 15 minutes. So
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
guys
Bye.
later. Yes. Have a good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Night.